people come back.
Oh, whatever your store release is. Yeah, that key binded. It's a pilot function.
Right.
Let's see. Store release, so adjust controls.
MK84. E-fuse.
Search store.
Node,
Store release. Right alt space.
Node, manual.
Okay. Now what do I aim with?
Your crosshair.
Oh my god. You know, like I don't know what the word is, like rudimentary it is. Like it's just a little thing that doesn't move. You have to point the plane at it.
Well, maybe that's the way to do it. Right here. I'm gonna switch it back to that other mode. See if that changes anything.
I got the vertical drop, but I don't have a crosshair anymore.
Are you
What do I aim at?
are you on air to ground?
Yep. I'm just gonna point this little thing at it.
Okay.
Then push your weapons release and hold it.
Did we lose a bomb?
No.
Hmm?
No.
Go to the other bomb mode. Quick.
I'm on it.
We still have all the bombs.
Yep.
Ord. Okay, I'm in ordnance mode. Hot trigger. Missile mode. Okay. Those are off. Place find impact for Pipper on the HUD over the target when it presses the bomb release button. Okay. What is the level here?
Did that do anything?
Ooh, I got a little glowing thing.
Turn back around.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I found it.
I had to hit program on mine.
These guys aren't gonna. These guys are definitely gonna know what hit them because we gave them 2 low passes.
We gave him 2 warnings.
I don't know, like your typical like angle of attack on dropping these either, though.
40,
Like, could I drop it from out here?
45 degrees is preferable. Shallow is not.
As long as you got your Pipper on him.
Like, will it fly that far?
Yeah. We're going fucking Mach Jesus right now. We're at 500 knots. I would hope it would travel that far.
Okay. Well, here goes nothing. Did we lose one?
Nope.
Still got all the bombs on. What am I doing wrong?
Weapons release.
Alright, tell me if we start losing a bunch of airspeed. I'm looking here at them as we're climbing.
We're at 450 knots.
Okay. The Pipper is, okay, you want Armament Legend Ord. Pipper's velocity pull up Q. Okay, good. We want the cursor. ADL, so manual. Manual underground mode is use backup on the other. So we want computer pilot.
What about that? We're at 300 knots. I got you to computer pilot right now.
I'm gonna level us here.
You want to try dropping one now, just to test it?
Sure. Right alt base.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Is
you
master
said it-
arm on?
Yeah. Master arm, and I have ordnance logoed. You said it's all right. So you have air to ground stuff back there. Aim
What
50.
about-
We don't want aim 54, so obviously we want.
Try it again. Did you hit it?
Oh god, there went one.
Ah, I know what I'm doing wrong.
Well, let's watch this thing because that's going to be a massive explosion in that field.
I know exactly what happened now. I forgot to select the store.
I want
I'm
to
in-
see what this big old bastard does.
I'm in F6 watching your bomb fall as well.
Me too. This should be a big boom. Yeah, that ought to take care of it. Alright, let's go.
Yeah.
We'll drop one on.
Okay, now I know what I'm doing. I forgot to select the store, that's why they weren't dropping. So do you want it in pilot or do you want it in target?
I'm going to go into a flat spin real quick. Whatever you just did. At least let me drop them.
Oh, yeah, I have a bomb selector right now, but what type of crosshair you got?
It's flying the wrong way.
That's because you almost went to a flat spin.
I don't know. I don't know what the right thing is.
We'll try one and we'll try the other.
Can't
I'm a-
find the airfield.
Are you gonna be on more active, I just say, and I'll get classes from one of the guys at the unit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna drop my first 2,000-pound bomb.
And then we can really Rio.
Just don't drop it on the TU-160s,
Aw.
please.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do. I was going to try to drop mine.
Do it.
Because it should kill them both.
Do it.
Should.
I'll go to the other end of the runway. There's shit over there too.
Big hints on should.
I just got to find the airport. I think I see it straight off the nose.
Yeah, there's the T's down there. I don't see. Oh, they're there. Here's a T90.
All right.
Oh, there's a bunch of other shit. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, while we're flying level here, let me just check this. So manual air to ground mode. What do you have it on now?
Pilot. Computer pilot.
Computer pilot. Looked in. I view it. Pull up cues used indicate your escape for 6, please.
Alright.
Sorry, pilot flies to
Oh, I didn't
impact
drop
point
any, man.
Pipper
Shit.
over the HUD. So I don't have a Pipper. Oh, I do now.
Oh, do you?
I think. We're gonna find out.
Altitude. Altitude. Flight
Did it go?
I think so.
No.
We lose one?
No, we haven't lost one.
I shot all mine.
One's away.
We got insanely light.
And that's insanely short.
It is short by like a mile.
switched it. Now you're on computer target.
Okay, mark it, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Do you have the nose fuses and the in fuse setting on them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't really say how to fire them. Like, assuming maybe I just need to be more in a dive. Maybe I was too low.
I would think you were.
You need to get some altitude. Or don't dive super early. You should be able to start your dive now.
Okay. Come on now. Put the nose down. Come on. It didn't go off.
Nope.
It gave me the pull up thing.
What does that mean?
Like, you know, where it wouldn't, if I would have dropped it, we would have been so close where it would have hit us.
You want to try manual now?
Let's see. Manual. The manual energy to back up this board says finally the pilot should apply the pipper on the HUD over the desired target. Pipper is in this mode. Updated by the DCS, however, is set a deflection from the ADL according to desired engagement speed, diving, point, release. Yeah, it just says you should just fly at it and drop it. Doesn't give you much info other than that.
Altitude. Altitude. Flight controls. Flight controls.
Alright. Did you blow up all that
Altitude.
stuff on the other end?
Altitude.
No. I don't have anything to drop anymore, though. I dropped it all over there. I was just hoping to see you guys drop some bombs on that.
No, I'll try now.
Okay. I'm just circling the area.
We're in a steep dive.
Aim a little bit beyond it, just a hair. There's one.
It's way short.
Yeah, you gotta aim above it. You got 2 crosshairs. One's a mid, the other one's far.
ADL. You don't have the ADL. You're in manual right now, you said. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have faith in you, boys.
We got one more chance.
I got 5,000 pounds of fuel left. Think they'd shit if I landed at their base?
So it's just that thing's not moving.
Come in from like 16,000 feet and just go straight down.
I'm about to dive now. Oh god, this is gonna hurt. If it hits him.
No, you went long.
It damaged it.
Yeah, you went long though.
You figure out how to drop them?
But it was like such a steep dive that it was like so unsafe. It feels like it should be way different than that.
Was that your last bomb?
Yeah.
All right, You want to hit it with guns?
Yeah, I'm going to now.
Okay.
I mean, if we could fire a Sidewinder at it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I tried locking onto it. Oh, it did work.
I could go into air-to-air mode.
Yeah,
Just point a Sidewinder at it.
I just did that. Oh, it hit it. That's freaking cool.
Oh yeah, because its engine is still running.
That's awesome.
Well, I am off for the night. Because I have to get up in 3 hours.
Well, if I would have known that, I would have just hit it with a Sidewinder.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Altitude. Altitude.
Oh shit. I was gonna say, I hope it doesn't go towards you. Oh shit. A little low.
Oh, BTR's
Are they shooting at us?
shot at me. No one's smoking.
I'm gonna have to RTV so I can get some more fuel. 125 people watching my stupid thing reset.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, so horrible.
Alright, gents. I'm going to catch y'all later.
Yeah. Have a good night.
See ya.
Later.
I gotta go hard left. There we go. And I'm right on it.
Oh.
Oh shit, I only got 2,800 pounds of fuel left. Yeah, we blew a wing off. A couple wings. Oh, nice, dude. Nice. Did you blow the nose off that? No, not
I
quite.
think so.
Pretty close though. You blew the wings off. You out?
Yep.
How much fuel you have left?
I blew the wing off. I damaged the wing real bad on that one. That one can't take off, that SU, because all the crap in its way. I have 6,300 pounds of fuel.
Wow. I should be able to make it back at 2,300 pounds. Yeah, as far as a bombing campaign, like the F-15 and the F-14 are definitely our best.
Bombing?
Yeah.
F-18.
You think so?
It does the best. F-14 is just not good at bombing. It can just carry big bombs because it's a big plane, but F-18, F-16, probably F-15. The F-14 is really just an interceptor. I mean, they tried to make it the Bombcat, and it didn't work out very well. Real life, like the Lantern pod just didn't do that great of a job. It was made to chase down potential like Russian planes because it's super fast and intercept them. It's really just made to like scare planes away, but it has those Phoenixes that can shoot from like 65 miles away.
Doesn't Iran still have some?
They're the only country who still has them, I think.
Because we sold some to them.
But the Bombcat, I don't know how many missions they did with the bombing. The dumb bomb thing there didn't work super well for me, but definitely carries really big bombs. Could be useful if I could figure out how to do it, which if I research it, I'm sure I could. It's air to air is where it's really at with this plane. Where she shines. Because I'm climbing up through 27,000 feet and still almost doing 400 knots at mill power. Not even in burner. But I'm also super light. First took off, I was like crazy heavy.
Yeah, I'm not burning much fuel at 32,000 feet.
Fuel low. Fuel low.
Believe me, I know my fuel's low.
You know, you F10, like you click on a plane, see how fast it's going?
Mm-hmm.
Click on my plane.
970, 80,
Ignore it.
90, Mach 1
Eh.
million.
1,000 miles an hour. I assume it's in miles per hour. I'm doing the Mach 1.8.
See if I can get up there. I know the F-16 can get up to like 970.
There's 1,100. I think the fastest Tomcat ever went was 1,500.
Was it 15?
Altitude.
Nope. I am not hitting it.
Flight controls. Flight controls.
I may black out though.
Altitude. Altitude.
Yeah, the F-16, I can glide that, but the F-18, nope. It just does not work. Ooh, I heard your boom.
Yep, I just ran out of fuel.
Did you really?
Yep.
Are you gonna be
I
able
went-
to bring it in?
I went like full burner all the way back.
Are you gonna be able to put it down?
I think so. Still 33,000 something feet. Just waiting on it to slow down.
I was able to land this thing at 124 miles an hour. With nothing on it. So that's neat.
Okay. You're just going to have to get off the runway very fast.
Yep, I see you. 2.5 out. Consider me off.
Get the skid on. And get flaps down, gear down.
I'm clear.
I'm going to land long.
I would
See if
land
I-
short.
See if I can slip the plane in. I'm long because I didn't want to go out far. Oh, I bounced. It's okay.
Oh no.
It doesn't want to pitch up.
No, oh my god.
And now it did because my speed brake went out. There we go. We're good.
Oh
Floated
no.
down.
That was actually pretty graceful for.
Yeah, I didn't realize my spoiler in the back was still out. Like your apparently I'd still had a little bit of fuel left. My engine just came back.
Yeah.
Like I flamed out. Yeah, when I wanted to pitch up, I couldn't because my speed brake was up in the back. So it wouldn't let me pitch back up. It was trying to force me down. I didn't realize that I about crashed straight into the runway, as you saw. That would have been nice.
Air 120. NX.
Request refueling. Request rearming.
Copy.
You plan on flying a little bit now, or what?
Flying a little bit, what do you mean?
Well, you can come fly with us a little bit.
Oh. Arma?
No, not necessarily Arma. I'm just in general, DCS or whatever.
I'm pretty sure I have installed Arma. Anyway. I broke one of my stabilizers.
Did you really?
Yep.
Your vertical,
Yeah,
your vertical
DCS.
one?
Well, it's like there's stabilators on this plane. Your rear ailerons, they're just big old flap things.
Go ahead and do a little left rudder.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What is going on?
I just froze completely.
Yeah, on my screen, your plane is sinking into the earth.
I can't stop, so if I'm driving, I can't see anything.
You're underneath the earth.
Oh, DCS crashed.
Oh,
Well,
is that your sign?
yeah. It's 3 a.m. I'm supposed to leave for the airport at 10:30 tomorrow.
Going on a trip.
No, I'm flying.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah, you need to get some sleep, dude.
And
Holy
then I
crap.
gotta work. I'm supposed to work a double tomorrow night. Well, tonight now. And then do a solo cross country the next morning.
Where you going? Where you going
Hour
from and
shift.
to? Where you going from and to?
It's the airport I fly out of, Butler, and then to a place called Meadville. It's like up by like Lake Erie. Up
Okay.
Erie, PA, close to it, like probably 15, 20 minutes to the lake. They crawl it cross country. It's like a 55-mile flight. It's just you make a flight plan just to show you can. You don't really need to do it, but for training you have to, with waypoints, as if you didn't have GPS.
Great.
And then you set times for those waypoints and you track them while you're flying, see if you can meet your times, and you base a heading pretty much off of, wind correction. But it's fly up there, land a time or two, and then fly back. And that's your cross country's done. You just have to do it. I've done 2 cross countries and 1 night cross country already, but I have to do solo ones too. So meaning you're alone.
Yeah. Well, I've soloed as well, but I didn't get my license. Just got my student. And
Oh.
except the first plane that I soloed in was a Yak 52.
Old school.
It's the Russian trainer for the MiG.
Oh, Yak.
A Yak 52. Yeah.
These things are old.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I fly in.
It lands at like 90 miles an hour.
I fly at Cessna 172s from the 70s.
Yeah.
And the school I'm going to, they fly Diamond aircraft, and
Okay.
their oldest plane is 2018.
Refueling complete.
They all have G1000s in them.
That's nice.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to know what. I mean, I know how to use one from flight sim
Flight
stuff,
controls.
but like, you get used to using steam gauges,
I-
and then the most thing I do have when I fly is there's like a little bitty, it's like a G whatever 530, I don't know. It's a little bitty GPS that just has like one tiny screen that pretty much just shows you like a track,
Rearming complete.
and some of them have a heading bug display that's digital, and some of them have a horizon indicator that's digital. So it's horizon, airspeed on the left, and altitude on the right, digital. But some of them are full steam gauges, except for the small, little GPS thing that shows you like where you're tracking. Which there's like 11 different planes there. I've flown all of them, and they're all different. There's some I was told by the chief instructor that there's some that have different props, and those props come set pitched, right? You know, with how much chunk they take out of the air. Some of them are very good on like climb and like good performance in and out,
Mm-hmm.
but when you get to cruise, they might be a little slower. Some of them might not climb as well, but then with the chunks that they take out at altitude, you cruise really fast. And
Okay.
there's one that's like a smidge faster. Like some of them are nicer. They're still older, but they're, you know, fully revamped.
Yep.
And they're a lot faster. So like, and then there's one that has only 30 degrees of flaps instead of 40. So like that one, you're always fast. You don't have much flap, you know, to get down. Like for when we did soft field and short field stuff, it's hard to do them in that because you don't have the flap that you need. I mean, it's still doable, but it's just a little harder. But it's cool. I mean, I like it a lot. But whenever I go home, start flying there, it's gonna be like you're flying brand new shit.
I, you know, it's embarrassing to say, but I've never flown anything with any electronics.
Yeah, I mean that's the first plane I flew in didn't have any, and then like 2 flights later, I flew one that had a, you know, it's a little bitty square, maybe like 4 inches by 4 inches, 3 by 3, or probably, you know, like maybe it's 5 by 5. We'll say 4.5 by 5, whatever. But they're little bitty ones, but it's like a massive difference having those. And then you go fly one that's completely all steam gauges. And then you'll go fly one that has like a couple more things, and maybe it's a better performing plane. And then you go fly one that's just a real slow turd with steam gauges. So it's just you get to know what planes you like. The one I'm in tomorrow is pretty good, and I'm gonna take it up cross country too. So
Man, you're living the dream right now.
I saved up a bunch of money and just said I'm gonna send it. That's what I've been doing. Probably, I would say 8,000 or more into it.
Oh yeah.
I have 35 hours flying a plane, like 90 something landings, I think.
I think. Well, my first day in that yak, my instructor, I asked him, I'm like, hey, can we do a roll in it? He's like, anything more than 60 degrees is technically an aerobatic maneuver. I'm like, oh. And so he put me into. So he did a stall to show me what would happen in a stall, and purposely put me into an inverted dive, like a spinning inverted dive.
A spin.
So so you're upside down, spinning, going towards the ground. He's trying to teach me how to get out of it, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, you're not listening. This is what you need to do. And I'm like, you need to take the controls. I was not prepared for that. So he went like way over the top, which was fine. It was fun, but because I trusted him. But
There's a thing you don't do it until you do. I think commercial, or when you go to get your instructor's license now. Used to they did it different, but you can go into a spin, and it's like what the F-14 does in a flat spin. But when you go into a stall, when you stall the plane, and it happens in power on stalls more than it does power off is simulating like if you stalled when you're coming into land. So you're pitched up and then it stalls on you, so you need to try to get the nose down to get power in, and then you can pick back up. Power on is if you stalled at takeoff, so you pitched up too much, you stall. Well, that's get the nose down. But when you go power on do a power on stall, like, you know, simulating it, you're like 3,000 feet or whatever, 2,500 at least, and you have to add in a bunch of rudder because of the torque. Well, the plane's going to keep going up, and you use rudder to look at your heading bug and make sure you're staying right on your heading. The plane also wants to roll, usually left, sometimes right. but it'll want to roll too while you're using rudder.
Right, because the engine's
Well,
spinning that way, right? Or the right.
Yeah. People will see the plane wanting to roll and immediately try to yank the controls and correct it. And when they do that, that will make one of the wings lose lift altogether. And then a spin starts, and then both wings lose lift. And then so you start spinning and spiraling down, losing both lift in both wings. Well, people will think, okay, I'm going to tilt the controls the opposite way of the spin. Well, your wings are stalled, so your ailerons don't work. So the only thing you can do is you take the power off. So now you're gliding down, and then your rudder, you use rudder opposite to the way of your spin, and then that will catch the spin, and then straighten the plane out, and then your lift in your wings will come back, and then you can slowly pitch the plane back up. You have to do it slow so you don't overstress.
Well, it's down stick as well, right?
Well, you can just leave it. You can put your hands on the instrument panel. You don't even have to touch the stick until, because you're spinning straight down, like nose towards the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But people will get into that and think, oh, I gotta yoke opposite. I got a flight control opposite the way of the spin. Your wings are stalled, so that won't help you. It's all about rudder. Stop that spin.
Marshall, 0,
And then that gets the wind hitting the plane and then creating lift again to where you can bring the wings up and bring the nose up. But that's why people will get killed in a spin, because they'll cause it themselves. The plane can stall all day long and you can catch it. But they think the tilt, the roll in the plane during the stall is like, oh God, I'm going to roll over. Well, you're not. And even if it does roll a little bit, that rudder that you have in already stops that from happening. But the first time I did it, your instinct, because I did it a little bit, you want to let off the rudder. You're like, oh shoot, I don't like this. If you let off that rudder, one of the wings will stall and then the other one will too, and you go into a spin. So that rudder is everything. And you wouldn't think, because it's with your feet and you don't want to use it, but it's literally crucial. It's crucial. Because our chief instructor during my first stage check, he had me do a stall in a turn. So he was like, okay, do a power on stall, but I want you turning. I was like, what? Obviously you think, okay, the plane's going to run a roll and spin on me because I'm in a turn. Nope, it stays exactly right where it is as long as you put the rudder in. It feels like it, but it doesn't. It's not going to. But it's a very weird feeling. The other ones that's weird is unusual attitudes. And I did mine at nighttime and daytime, but unusual attitudes in the pitch black of night. When you're over an unpopulated area, obviously, the ground's black. You can't see the ground.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to tell you except your altitude, like, because the horizon disappears at nighttime. So he'll have you put your head down and then put your ear to your shoulder. When you do that, you lose, like, I guess it would be situational or spatial awareness. Like, you close your eyes, put your head down, and put your ear to your shoulder. So you kind of like, you feel like you might be upside down, and you're not. But you do that, he's like, all right, head down, close eyes, head to the shoulder to the ear. You do that, and then he starts rolling the plane left and right, ascending, descending, powering on, powering off, and then he'll get the plane in like a dive in a turn with the power on and say, recover. So you lean up and you look at the instruments to see what you're doing. And if you're diving unusually in an unusual attitude in a dive, in a turn, your first thing you do is you pull the power back, and then you roll the wings level, and then you slowly bring the nose up. So, because you don't want to bring the nose up in a turn, because that's going to stress the airframe even more. You want to be wings level to have, you know, it's all spatial, like spread out stress. And then he'll do one where he's like climbing and you're almost about to stall and he'll say recover. So you look up and you're like, oh God, we're like way nose up in a turn, about the stall horn's about to go off. That one, you immediately put power in and drop the nose, even if you're turning. Then once the nose is dropped and you see the airspeed coming up, then you can worry about leveling the wings. And like those have to be done specific, but it's weird doing it at night because when you look up, you have no idea where you are unless you look at the instrument panel.
Yeah, I would have to say that I boltered. No.
I enjoy nighttime though because there's not as many planes out and about. You can do a ton of landings and nobody's in your way.
Do the air
It's
traffic
peaceful.
controllers get an uncontrolled airport or what?
I fly out of an uncontrolled airport. My last flight was a night cross country to a controlled airport. So, you know, call them up on your way in. Talk to them, you know.
Class
they know.
D or airspace?
It was
or
a
what?
Delta, yeah. But my next one, I'll be in a Bravo.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's one like where you cannot screw up.
So you're like, hey, this isn't 6284 Yankee
you have to talk.
student.
I have to talk to like Pittsburgh approach.
Oh god.
This one I just talked to, you know, the air traffic controller at this Delta in his small airport. But I mean, it was at night, and you know, bigger airport. You know, got to do some taxi instruction. You know, like gives you a long routing, you do that and whatnot. He's a cool controller. He knew his training, so did some touch and goes up there. Got to deal with other traffic and whatnot. And flew home. Got some landings in. Landing at night's cool. Everything's lit up real bright, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at like smaller airports, there's no like runway center line at night, so it's just like illuminated on the edges,
Right.
and it's a black rectangle on the ground that you're flying at, and you don't see anything until your landing lights hit it, and then you can start to see the numbers and stuff. It's just black. Then you're like, oh, hey, there's the numbers, yep, and then you just set it down. But your depth perception's a little off too.
You get your threshold lights there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know you're heading to the right place. You got the pappies as well, but it's just weird until your lights hit it. It's just black. And I've landed in some pretty crazy winds.
Yeah, there's.
I landed up at Erie. We listened to the weather, and I was like, that's not too bad. You know, it was like 17 knots or something, you know, but it was more off the nose, so more of a headwind. I've landed in a 17 knot, a gusting 17 direct crosswind before. That was insanely sketchy. Put it down smooth though. This, it's like 17, but mostly headwinds. So I'm like, okay. I turned the final, and I mean, you're like getting the crap beat out of you. And I said, what do you think? Are we going around? And he goes, well, cross country doesn't really count unless the wheels touch the ground. And I said, I guess we're landing. I got that thing down. We got a gust. It ballooned us up in the air. We're losing airspeed. And then, like, he didn't touch anything. He's like, all right. You know, and I set it down. And I just go, whew. He's like, yep, we're getting the hell out of here. So, full power. I get back up in the air. I hit the weather again as I'm departing. And the winds were, so we landed on 2.5, I think. Winds were 280, so, you know, like 30 degrees off, you know, maybe it was 270, something like that. So 20 degrees off, it's not bad. But they were 17 or 18 steady gusting to 37.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it changed from when we were in the downwind to when we got on final, and I landed it in a gusting 37 knock wind, not
Dude.
wind. And we got back, and he like started telling the other instructors. He was like, "Yeah, well, guess what we just did?" And they just stared at me like I was a crazy person.
Well, that's a lot for that aircraft.
Oh yeah, it's like you don't want to do like more than like 25 knots in that plane.
No.
And I went over that a lot. But you don't know. Like you're like, oh, this feels pretty bumpy. This feels like a lot more than 16, 17. Obviously, you're not listening to the weather while you're on final. You're more, at an uncontrolled airport. You're worried about landing.
Mhm.
You're like, okay, maybe a little gust hit, but yeah, it was bad. Set it down. It was actually a very, very good landing. I thought it was going to be much harder. And then when I got back to our actual airport, it was a direct crosswind, like 16 knots or something. Set it down real smooth. He's like, "Yep, that's pretty good. We're done here." I said, "Yes, we are." That's good stuff. Not something I would do by choice. Not a brag. I handle it, but you gotta make real smooth decisions. Get yourself killed.
Yeah, well, we've had so many people crash here lately too, and it's been like professional crews, like air med crews and stuff like that, because they're going out in shitty weather, not de-icing their planes, or they're waiting for too much time between de-icing and deployment. And
The only thing that I hate out by us is there's a life flight out there, and they'll pick up and hover out and take off, and it's just you have to keep such a close eye on those because you don't want to fly in the path of one. You'll flip over. The wake turbulence a helicopter puts on can flip a Cessna over in the air.
Oh yeah.
Like you're screwed. There's nothing you can do.
Some of them are flying big helicopters too.
Out here they fly the Airbus, like the H-145s, and they're fairly decent sized medevac helicopters. They can fly in pretty much most weather, but I'm always really like paying attention when they're around because you gotta be. I've had like 3 real go-arounds, people entering the runway while I was on short final. Butler traffic's got 226 going around. We'll sidestep for the parting traffic, and they're like, "Oh, we just got on the runway in front of you. Sorry." Yeah, you should be, because I was about to land, and you decided you were going to take off.
Well, is it an uncontrolled airport?
Yep. But you uncontrolled, you announce
Right.
like all of your traffic pattern movements.
And they weren't listening either.
They had to be listening because they called they were departing, but they weren't actively listening. But I don't know how people. When I did my first solo, that was my biggest thing I was worried about. Was like making sure I didn't get in someone's way. And when you go to take off, like you're holding short of the active, all you got to do is look out the window to the left or right, whatever end you're on. Like you'll see a plane that's coming in to land. You'll see it.
I suppose unless they're on final, or on their base. But
Well, I mean, if they're on base, you got time. You can go. But if they're on base still, but you'll hear them say, Butler traffic, Skyhawk, November 1379 uniform, turning left base. And then you look out there, and you'll see them. Like it's not far. And then they'll call final, and you just stay waiting. But like, I don't know. I don't know how people. I can't say I don't know how people do it. I've never done it yet. Hopefully, I never do. But it's yeah, they're just like, yeah, we're going. So and so departing 26 Butler, and you're like, great, thanks. You got to go full power and start climbing again when you're going, you know, full final approach speed at like 65 knots.
Yeah, shit. Well, I know they're given a lot of like leeway as well, like when they're coming in or going over airspace or whatever, because they need to land on roads, fields, or whatever.
Well, I'm talking about not the helicopters don't depart
Oh.
in front of us. Actual other airplanes.
Oh,
The helicopter guys are good. They know what they're doing because they realize they're at a small. It's not really super small, but it's a small, uncontrolled airport. I mean, private jets land there and everything, and rich people, whatnot. But the helicopter pilots are really good about it. They stay out of people's way. But there's, you know, other students or private pilots that you wonder how they ever became a private pilot, like the stuff they do. My instructor told me he was flying with a guy that's had his private for like 20 something years, and he stopped flying for a long time. Decided to pay for an instructor because he wanted to start flying again, get, you know, kind of re-upped. He said they were coming into land, and he's pitched down, you know, at approach angle, and obviously you're going to do that, but you can't do that forever. You have to start flaring, you know. And he said, he's like, well, he's not flaring yet. He's like, I just sat there. And I was like, I started to put my hand up towards the controls to see if he was going to. And he's like, he was not going to flare. And he said, so I said my controls, and I grabbed it and I landed the plane. And he told me, had he not done that, the guy was flying at an angle that he would have ran the prop straight into the runway.
ouch.
And I was like, I mean, I don't know how somebody could just think, yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Well, see, I like in that yak, I have to land that at it lands at like 90 miles an hour. And at 300 meters, I would come in at about a mile. That'd be my base turn. And I'd come in on, you know, that making that short final for the mile approach, right? But I was power off, and my top of my nose was at the numbers. Like that's what I was facing. And right up until I got within 100 feet, that's when I started like leveling off, like because you had to come in and you had to.
You got to get the nose down.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to
you have to
right.
get to the runway.
Right.
And this guy apparently he just never got away from getting to the runway. He was going to fly right into the runway.
But we had to stall it on the runway. Like that's how you land it. You stall the airplane. And
That's how you know you have a good one in a Cessna. If you hear the stall horn bugging a little bit in your flare, you'll sit down like kiss the runway real smooth.
yeah, and I never had any issues with it, I guess.
Some people don't, but you gotta. I mean, you're a cop, right? There's a lot of people that don't even know how to drive cars,
Yeah.
and then they go to try to fly an airplane, right?
Yeah. Well, and the biggest thing that bugged me when I first started flying it was tricycle gear. I had to figure out. I was like, so I can't see anything in front of me. And he's like, yep. I'm like, because the engine was so big and round, you know.
Yep.
But once you got up flying normal, then you could see over the top of it. But when you're on the runway, like you couldn't see the end of the runway, so you'd kind of like pitch, like slightly off center just to see, or look rather. So
That's what they say in those. It's like you're flying, you use the engine cowling, you get it down towards the runway. When you start your rollout, then you let the plane settle into its flare. Your flare should be like your nose. You shouldn't be able to see. Your nose should be like at the very top. Like you should just maybe barely be able to see the end of the runway in your flare. And you just hold that. Flare, and then you'll hear a little. It's a super annoying sound.
Yeah, I didn't have any stall warning in that thing. So it was from like the 19 whatevers. So
Stall warning is when it starts shaking and falls. out of
yeah,
the sky.
I had no there's no indication to know that it's stalling, like visually or audibly. Like there's no light, there's no any of that in that one,
Sushi 1-1. Request takeoff.
which is interesting. I mean, I'm all about it. So
That's my friend flies. He flies Dearmans, which are 1920s planes,
mm-hmm.
and they can do acrobatics, aerobatics. I mean, and he's Alaska Airlines captain, but he'll fly Stearmans on the side, and they're tail draggers. And you 3-point land those, kinda. So like you get it in a good flare and you sit it down the same. But when you're sitting on the ground, you can't see up over the nose, obviously, because it's a tail dragger. And you kind of look out left and right. But they practice on landings on skinny runways.
Yep.
And so when you come into land, when you flare the plane, you can't see the runway at all, and you're sitting on the runway because it's so narrow. So the way you're center line is you can see left and right out. Like when you look down to the left, you look down, because they're open cockpit too.
Right.
You look down to the left, you look down the right, and you see the equal amount of runway left and right of you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you know you're on center line, but you can't see anything in front of you. There's a lot of stuff like that, I guess. Aviation would really screw with somebody that was not interested or, determined to do it. There's a lot of things that could deter you away, I guess. Like, there's some scary stuff, sketchy stuff. It makes you respect Mother Nature a lot more,
Yeah.
because she will ruin your life in a second.
I bet. I mean,
The first time I soloed, I was like, "You just let me take an airplane. Like, I could go anywhere. I mean, I'd get in trouble once I landed, but I'm alone."
well, those 9/11 guys, all they learned to do was fly and not land.
Pull up, pull
Well,
up.
they knew where to point it, I guess, for their sake.
Well, I'm just surprised that the instructors didn't do anything about it. That's what bothers me the most.
There's a lot of instructors recently.
That reminds me, out of all of the airports I had to fly out of, when I went to the US on my exchange trip, I flew a Cessna 182 out of the same airport where they trained the 9/11
Yeah.
bombs in Fort Lauderdale.
Really.
At least because we took a Civil Air Patrol Cessna, so we were able to fly low.
Flight control.
Along one of the military's flight lanes. There's the pilot on board. He was a captain from the Marines or something. Yeah, a
Altitude.
fighter
Altitude.
pilot. He's flying this Cessna. He had a really I remember he had a real strong Boston accent. And
Flight control.
anyway, he was thrashing
Flight
the poor
control.
Cessna, but we flew along the same flight line, nice and low across the beach, like the opening for DCS Miami.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were telling me about
Yeah,
that.
I flew along that exact flight line where they got that shot of the beach.
That's awesome.
But those Civil Air Patrol Cessnas, they've got quite a lot of light systems on board, more than a regular Cessna.
These planes do not want to land when they're empty. They just float. Shit.
Didn't we get the 160th basic mission qualified?
What's that? Yeah, you're really quiet.
Oh, there we go. I was looking at the qualifications and stuff on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, BMQ, FMQ, and AMCQ. Right, Taylor?
Taylor's 160th basic mission qualified.
Yeah,
I don't even have that.
and it's something new that came in.
Shouldn't you be more than basic?
He should be.
Bully.
I got the Top Gun tag, remember?
The only one I don't have is I never got heavy weapons.
Oh, shit.
Which
I guess you have to come back and do heavy weapons and then do it again.
we have heavy weapons on all the aircraft. You should automatically have it.
Yeah. Things have changed quite a bit since you've been gone.
Like what?
Just really up the ante.
I hope that's good. I mean, that's all I ever wanted to do is make it harder for people.
Like across the board, and retention went up like 50% after we did that, which is crazy.
That's all I just wanted to make it. You know, the new people. Whenever I've at least had somewhat of say, because all the people that were there were good. Like, you know, the long timers were good. It was the new people I wanted to make it really hard for them. So, you know, if it's somebody that's a turd, they just leave. And if it's somebody determined, then, you know, Bradbury made it really hard for me. So
I don't have a front wheel. Shit.
that's good though.
Yeah.
They're sticking around. How many pilots are there?
I think there's 12.
12.
That's their max.
We're pretty maxed out unit-wide. A lot of field billets. I mean, infantry is always a merry-go-round, but that's relatively field.
Right?
So, Fam? How's he?
I think he's pretty.
Ah, he's great.
All of them are pretty decent.
Liege?
Liege.
Liege.
Yeah.
DeMeo?
Yeah, DeMeo's good. I know DeMeo's US Army, FAM's also US Army.